Hey, and welcome to another main contained fishing podcast. As always, Paddle and Fin Network, and we're here on our first broadcast on the network. So sit back, grab you a cold drink, and enjoy the show as we kick off the main contained fishing. Hey, and welcome to the show. As always, like, subscribe to the channel, Paddle and Fin Network as well. We've got some guests coming on from the crew over at YakRods. I had the time to spend time with them at ICAST. We've got Tandy, and we've got another guest, which is their pro, Mr. Derek Brundle, as he joins the show for the first time. So let's kick it off. Hey, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
So, hey, we're just going to talk a little bit about y'all's experience at ICAST. Derek, the thing I kind of want you to kind of fill in the guests with are your experience with the rods, how you fish them, what you like about them, some of your tournament experience with them. And Tandy, let's just kick it off with you, ma'am. You know, you went to ICAST for your first time. You traveled all the way from Idaho to Florida, which is about a week trip, right?
Well, it's funny. I had to get an oil change before I left and then get one when I got back. I've never had to do that after a road trip before.
Oh, certainly. So just kind of give us your experience from ICAST. This was your first year, right?
It was. It's kind of, we're in our fourth year with YAKRODS, and it was kind of our launch. I mean, we've had sort of a soft launch as far as getting rods out and building up our lineup and working with people to build rods. But it was cool. It was so cool because the rods and the new tether system was so well accepted, and people are excited about it. It was a buzz for sure, and we've generated a lot of opportunities, a lot of business. We're not sure how it's all going to look going forward, but it's super exciting because this tether system was basically why we started YakRods. My boys and I were losing excuse me. My boys and I were losing rods right and left over the edge of the kayak when we started fishing. They were 8 and 6. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way. I keep losing my good rods every time they're on my boat or I lend it to them. So we just started playing with it. And YakRods developed. We wanted some bulletproof rods that we don't have to worry about getting beat up. And it's just exploded. It's super exciting to be I'm a single mom. So to be working in the field with my kids and family behind me, and it's been cool. I love the sport, and I love building rods.
Oh, certainly. I had my chance to get my hands on some when I was down there at the show with you, and just the texture. And Derek, you kind of chime in on this because you've actually fished with the rods, and the stiffness of the rods aren't compromised by not sanding the rod down, right?
Yeah. So, with the unsanded finish like they are, they remain more sensitive. They also remain a lot stronger. And I mean, I've been with YakRods going on 3 years now, and I've broken that many too. One was in a car door, and one I stepped on when I left it on the ground next to my kayak before I was getting in it. So and if you ask anybody, I am not easy on gear. I pretty much look at a fishing rod and tell them, you're in for it. I am probably the worst person to have this in my hand because I throw them down, I leave them places. Like I said, I stepped on them, I slam them in the car door. They're brutally, brutally, brutally tough, but by design.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tandy, I kind of want you to re-mention, you said it on the first podcast with us, is the components of the rods that y'all use and what makes them different from any other components out there on the market that makes the rod more durability wise and just the weight of the rods and the lightness, things like that.
Yeah. As far as leaving it unsanded, that's a big deal. You lose about 25% of the rod's strength when you sand it. And then when you sand it, people whoever's sanding it isn't taking the greatest care. So there's gonna be tender spots, I would say. So then they either gloss over it or they paint over it. And so it's just leaving that original skin on is huge. You can even take like a razor blade and go up and down it. I mean, it's I wouldn't, but when you spend good money for it, but it's they're durable. We use only American Tackle Guides. They do an outstanding job. They're known to put in the extra effort. That company has been let me say, when you build rods, you work with a lot of different pieces to bring all the pieces together in different companies, and American Tackle has been outstanding. They have high quality, good customer service, the whole nine. But most of our rods use the microwave air without the inserts, so you don't have to worry about losing an insert. We do like put an insert on the tip, just so you get a little smoother release out of there. But yeah, we're American Tackle Guides. We make our own reel seats, and we designed them with the inside a little different than typical. I don't want to you'll have to take one apart.
Yeah.
To see, but they don't move. And once they're epoxied on there, they stay. Yeah, and then our end caps are aluminum, so our saltwater guys love it. As far as the inshore bully, that fares well in the rod holders and stuff. Yeah, we just try not to compromise. We bring all the pieces together that we could find that are kind of the best and toughest and perform and keeping the price point down. We're not under 200, but you can't get a good rod for that. I mean,
sure. No.
Yeah.
And I tell you my experience from walking around ICAST and looking at other booths and picking up other rods and things like that is, a high-end rod is a high-end rod. You're not going to buy this. You're not going to buy a high-end rod at, I don't care, Walmart, Dick's, Academy. You're going to have to order these straight from the company and get them in your hands. And it's just a different feeling when you pick up a high-end rod. And I can't vouch for other rods, but YakRods. When I even picked up the chatterbait rod, the X chatterbait that y'all make, and I was like, man, this thing is like a piece of bird feather.
Yeah, that's been one of our best sellers, that chatterbait rod. I think people just love throwing chatterbaits in general.
Yeah, or bladed jig, whatever you want to call them, chatterbaits, yeah. Bladed jigs, whatever like that. So, Derek, coming from the fishing world, you fish out of a new canoe and fish a lot of the national level stuff with Bassmaster and things like that. What has people approached you about the rods, like at tournament level, to kind of see, hey, what kind of rods are you using, or what kind of rods?
Yeah, I think it's more of a curiosity thing to see if I'm telling the truth, because I get a lot of people that come up and the first thing they do is they run right over to the rods and they pick each one of them up and they make sure the YakRods label is on there. And I've fooled a couple of people because I've got a couple of prototypes that have never even come out that I still use to this day because they're incredible. But Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of interest when it comes to that. People want to see, they want to feel it, they want to pick it up, they want to, and probably the first comment I get is, "Oh my God, this thing is so light." Like all the rods are so light in weight that they're unbelievable. So comfortable to fish with all day because you're not slinging a big heavy rod. And for me, and Tanny can vouch to this, I am like a swim bait junkie. I love to throw big, like depths 250s and the big giant baits. And our big Bofo rod, don't quote me on the weight of it. Tanny can probably let you know, but that thing, if you pick it up without a reel on it, you
I
think
just
you
like
have
the way
a
you
fly.
say it. Say big bofo again.
Big Bofo.
Okay. With that accent. So funny.
So, I think that's probably one of the biggest comments that I get is the actual weight of the rods. And then, I'm constantly lending these things out. Like even during tournaments, I had a guy staying with us at the last Susquehanna River event, and Clay Ragsdale of Veterans Kayak Fishing. And he's been, up my butt to see these rods and checking out. So I told him, I said, you know what? Take one of these. You guys were talking about the X Chatter rods. I said, take one of these X Chatter rods and you fish with it for the week.
Yeah.
I said, you let me know an honest review of this one. You give it back to me at the end. I said, all friendship aside, everything, I want an honest review. Somebody that's never used this rod. I want you to take this rod. I want you to use it. The first day he told me, you're never getting this thing back.
Aw.
And you know what? He still has it.
Oh, shoot.
I realized that after we left the Susquehanna, I came home. I said, man, I'm missing a chatterbait rod. Oh, never mind. I know where it is. So, yeah, he's still got
Gotta
it.
get you another one of those.
Yeah, so, people that get them in their hands and people that get to use them are just blown away by the quality. And I think Tandy hit it right on the head talking about no compromise. That's what you have to do when you build a top of the line rod. You have to use no compromise at all. And the top quality components, the knowledge of the rod builders, the people designing the rods, just when it all comes together, you get the absolute right deal in your hand. You're unstoppable.
Right.
To piggyback on that, what Derek said, what's so cool about this company and the people that we hire or working with us is that we're all kayak anglers ourselves. It makes a difference. Like we care that, they're tough and yet still sensitive, or it's the right action for the right bait. But we love the community. We love being connected with kayak anglers, and that makes a huge difference. Because, when we're designing or building rods, we tap these guys. So, Derek built the Rip rod with us, and Justin Cavett built the BFS rod with us, and we have other input from different folks that fish those techniques a lot. And so that with their input, what they want, how they want the rod to work, you really are getting what we consider the best kayak rod for those techniques. That chatterbait rod went a year and a half in development with different guys that throw chatterbaits all day long. And so it's not just, length, throw medium heavy on there and call it good. It's really picking apart the rod and how we want it to work from a kayak.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's the first series of your rods that you connected the tether to is the butt end had a little slit in it. You kind of looped the tether.
Oh,
Well,
this is a new one. You mean the old one?
Yeah, the old one. The old one had a slit on it, right?
Yeah, this one does too, if you can see it.
Yeah.
Maybe. There's a hole in there too.
Okay. So, yeah, you can. I can barely see it if you get up on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So now you've invented this new thing with your rods of a magnetic tether system. And when I first put my hands on it down at ICAST, I was like, crap, man, this thing is a no-brainer. Say if you're, it don't get in your way of your casting, it just connects right into the end butt, no things like that. So it's in my opinion, I want them on my kayak because I lose rods. Because I'm just one of the people, I'd be turning around and kick the rod off the deck. But kind of go into the overall invention of this thing when y'all came about it, Tandy, and kind of if you have anything, Derek, to add on to it, because I'm pretty sure you saw this before way of anybody because you're the pro with the company. So kind of give us your input on it as well, Derek, as Tandy does too.
Honestly, I don't tether my rods. I didn't used to tether my rods. Because our old design, what you could tether, one per tether, and you start getting all these cords wrapped up, and it's a hazard. It's a hazard for me going swimming. Like I'm gonna trip over it or lose something. But it was too many cords on the deck, and so we wanted a quick interchangeable deal where we could just change out rods quickly with one tether. And that's where the magnet deal, my boys and I, we love magnets. And so I was like, dang, how do we just get a magnet in this and make it quick and easy? And sure enough, I mean, you throw that tether on there with a magnet, you don't even know it's on there. And it's one tether hooked to your boat or your PFD, wherever you want to hook it. I like hooking it to my seat. And then you pull it out of a rod holder and just snap it in and you're good to go. And then with the little mini micro thing we built, that thing is so cool because it's so low profile. So you just snap it on there. You can snap. I have two in front of me all the time, 2 rods that are totally secure. You can put those mighty micros all over your boat because they're so small, So yeah, it's a great system. I didn't used to tether because it was too cumbersome, and I took the chance of losing them, but yeah, now I do.
All right. Derek, do you have anything to add to that? Do you use them on your kayak as well, or?
So I run about 14 rods on my kayak for every tournament. So I'd have cords going everywhere. I don't currently have any of the new magnetic systems with me yet.
They're en route.
Yeah. But I'll definitely be using those, and I really, really am looking forward to the micro mighty mount. So I can just kind of stick a rod wherever. Right now, when I catch a fish and we're in the middle of a tournament, I gotta get it over to the rod holder, set it down there, make sure it doesn't fall into the whatever, and then take my pictures with that mount. You can just boom, stick it right on top of that and be done. And then measure your fish, take your pictures, let it go, pick the rod back up off of that because it's not going to go anywhere. Right. And then start casting again, because time is money in a tournament. You never know when your fish are hot. You might go fishing 4 or 5 casts. So having that right there, having that quick, having it secure, is going to be awesome.
Right. Yeah. And the mighty mount you're talking about is this, I would say it's about that high. You can't really tell on the screen. There you go. Tandy's got one. So it connects right to your T-track. And
it's so cool.
Yeah. So Sandy, if you don't mind, just show them how that rod connects into that for me. And
yeah.
So
that goes on your T-track and it snaps in there. So you hear it click. And, I've even trolled with this. I don't recommend it. It's not made for trolling. But because of that little where the magnet's hitting it, you can't snap it off. Something's going to break before that pops off. But then to pull it out, it's like 16-pound pull. And it's simple. Yeah. I mean, it sits, I love it. It sits straight up. Nothing's going to knock it off. It flops around. And it's an extra hand. Like Derek said, you toss it there when you're taking your picture or whatever.
Yeah, I had even when I first saw it, I was like, man, you could eliminate some rod holders in the back of you.
Seriously,
just sticking your rods on it.
Well, in the way we roll, we fish off the links. So I used to have to take my rod holders off or a rod holder off, or you're hitting your leg on it or whatever,
Right.
to put it in the truck. And I just leave these things on and I slide the links right up. It never comes off the boat.
So yeah, it's so Derek, I hate that you didn't get to join the ICAST this year.
I know.
There was nobody more disappointed than me, right?
Right. But I got, James was down there with us, and he shot some video for us. I put a little video of the
Have you
foundation.
met him, Derek?
I think I talked to him at one show once. Yeah,
He's a hoot.
quite frequently on online or whatever. But
yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
So, so we were shooting video, got the video put together, got it pushed out after we come back from ICAST, and just I got some feedback from it myself, but I kind of want to get your feedback, Tandy, on ICAST and how people were feeding back to you about the new magnetic tether system and how things are going to go down the road for you, and maybe some other development or anything like that. I know research and development is very secretive among companies, but kind of give us a take of the feedback that you got from ICAST.
It's not too secret. I mean, we have a pretty tight patent on all this stuff. So, I mean, if somebody wants to sell it in the U.S., it's just gonna make us money in the long run, I guess.
Right.
But, there's so much. I love talking to kayak anglers because even at ICAST, they're just throwing out all these ideas like, oh man, you could do this. You could make it where it's gonna, adjust. And we actually hooked up with a kayak maker, one of the big names that wants to put. I think that I'm allowed to say this. They want to put a magnetic holder in their boat when they mold it, just for this system. So that's huge. I mean, that makes it where if you want to use this particular accessory on their kayak, you have to buy YAKRODs.
Yeah.
Or a rod that has this end cap system. So
right. So let's talk about that a little bit. So a rod builder can buy that end cap system. Or is it exclusively just for you?
Yep, it's only YAKRODs at this point. Okay. We're talking with a couple companies about licensing, but I don't know what's going to happen. So
right. Okay.
It's all in the works, and they're always going to be on YAKRODs for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I had a question in the chat that somebody asked. Tim Williams said, "Can you buy the end component separate?" Right now, you can't, Tim. That's just a component.
I mean, how much does he want to pay? We could talk.
But no, that's something that was a lot of people's asking me, because they knew I went down with y'all, and after all that came out, and man, are they going to make an adapter to fit everybody's rods?
Sure. Yeah, that's tricky to put it on after the fact.
Right.
But yes, we have the patent on that too. So I don't know if our R&D department can come up with something like that, that'd be cool. But I mean, why not just buy a YakRod? Because honestly, like Derek and I have been saying,
right.
I mean, they have their favorite rods, but it's worth giving YakRods a try, and I mean, supporting the cause for kayak anglers. Right. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So Derek, do you have anything to kind of add on what you have fished these rods, and kind of gave them the run around, and you are from Massachusetts, right? If I'm not mistaken. Okay. So, but you travel with your rods. How do you store these rods when you travel?
Like an idiot, just throw them in the. No, I've literally I fish all over the country. I put them in tubes and I shipped them to California and I fished out there. But most of the time I'm just driving. They're in the truck or they're in the car. Sometimes I wrap them up in a bundle with rod hold, with the rod glove on it, and put them in the kayak, and they'll roll down the road 6-7 hours inside the kayak, depending on how much gear we got with us. So, yeah, I mean, the thing about the YakRods is, Tandy had touched on it, is that they really take a lot of input from anglers that fish out of kayaks. And that has reflected in a couple of things that I think are two major points really to talk about. The actions are designed to be a little bit different in a kayak, specifically in the Rip Series rod that we designed for jerk baiting. That is traditionally a little bit heavier of a medium action rod. It's a little bit heavier than that. So when you actually draw down and you set on a fish and your kayak starts to turn, a lot of times you lose that leverage you have of the fish. Well, that little bit of difference in the action that we put in that rod will counteract that. So you keep a lot more fish pinned that way. Stuff like that YakRods really pays attention to is really kind of what sets them above, just the standard rod. Even a good standard rod. These are really designed kayak anglers, the tough aspect, the sensitivity, and really the actions that kind of help you keep fish pinned in a kayak, because it's different than, if you're out there in a bass boat or something like that. There's definitely a different action that's needed on the rod.
Yeah, because y'all both can say this as well, is when you're setting a hook on a fish in a kayak, it's not like setting a hook when you're in a bass boat.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you set that hook, that fish is going to pull and that kayak's going to go with it a little bit. So if you got a little bit more, I would say, backbone in the rod, then you'll be able to pin that hook better in that fish's mouth. Is that what kind of you're saying, Derek?
Absolutely. And it's kind of, it combines, a lot of the rods have that really great parabolic action too. So once you get them pinned and away from the cover, they stay pinned,
Right.
That rip rod too that Derek designed, it's going to be our first signature series rod. He's actually going to have his name on it, and you guys can know that when you're throwing that jerk bait that Derek approves.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we put a lot of time and effort into that rod, and the results are pretty extensive, as far as the sensitivity. And you can pick up that rod, and I'll use a 15-pound braid to like a 10 or 12-pound fluorocarbon leader, about 7 feet long or whatever. But you can pick up like a Megabass Vision 110 and almost fire that thing out of sight. The microwave guide system, the way it just kind of gathers up that braid and shoots it through the guides, it's unreal. Like the casting distance is unreal on those things. Yeah, well, I'm super excited that we finally get everything lined out and get my name on the rod, the new signature series Rip rod. So, check them out. If you ever see me, I've got 3 or 4 on the kayak at all times. Always got a jerkbait tied on. It's won me a lot of money over the years. Plus, the rod kind of doubles and triples as a couple other things. This year down at the Susquehanna River, we just had the Bassmaster event down there, and kind of got on a pretty cool deal with the Jackal Pompadour, which is kind of like a well-known bait that nobody ever uses. And these fish down there, I don't think they've ever seen it, and they were just viciously attacking this thing. But I doubled that. I used a casting Rip Series rod, the casting version, and with a 20-pound P-line copolymer with that Jackal Pompadour, and that is like a match made in heaven. You can fire that thing a mile, and then the action of that rod keeps them pinned. So treble hook baits, it's awesome. Also doubles really good if you want to skip around docks and stuff with a Senko. That thing is deadly accurate.
Yeah, that rod comes in casting or spinning. We don't do that on all our rods, and we'll custom make it for some people if they really want it. But because Derek likes to throw the jerkbait with the spinning rod, we had to do both.
So Derek, I don't throw a jerkbait on a spinning rod down here in Georgia.
Yep.
So just kind of tell me the difference with, we're going to get off topic here a little bit, is tell me the difference between throwing a jerkbait on a spinning rod to a casting rod.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of times with your jerkbait on your casting rod, you're probably throwing 10 or 12 pound fluoro right straight. So a lot of times you'll get that bait out there and you don't have the best control over it. With that braid to a fluorocarbon leader, it gives you a lot more control of the bait, gives you a better feel of the bait. And you can do it on a casting rod as well. But you get this incredible distance with the spinning rod, 2500 series spinning rod, spinning reel. I'm particular to quantum reels. I don't know why, but I've always used them and they last like forever. And they got a great drag system on it. So you can fire that thing out there a mile. And when you get that rod in your hand and you can just be a little bit more accurate when you jerk, and sometimes you can move the bait just a little bit less, or maybe feel the bait a little bit better as you're moving through the water column with it, because you get a little blade of grass or anything on that. If you don't have that braid, the fluorocarbon leader, you're probably not going to feel it as much. So you can really snap that grass free of the jerk bait. And I just feel like I have better control over the fish with a spinning rod when they start to get crazy. If you hurt them with a jerkbait, they go berserk. They go all over the place. Yeah. That spinning rod gives you a little bit more control over all that.
Right. So Tandy, you mentioned the BFS series rod so Derek, are you into the BFS stuff now, or?
I'm a junkie of everything, everything fishing. Yeah, actually, I'm throwing a little tiny megabass grand ciglet down on the Susquehanna River with that thing, catching smallmouth with it. It's awesome.
So, kind of kicking into the BFS stuff here, Tandy, is y'all had somebody help you design that rod, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that rod and because it's kind of piqued my interest, because I'm thinking about throwing BFS for some big red breast brim down here in the river.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So just kind of hit on that for me, kind of how that rod was designed. And
yeah, so it's made for BFS in that we put a smaller blank, but and smaller guides. So they're size 4 guides, but they're the American Tackle heavy duty guides. So they're bulletproof again, but they have inserts to get, that tiny, usually you have a leader knot and all that. We just wanted to get it through the guides really quick and smooth. But the cool thing about that when we were designing that with Justin is we went back and forth probably with, I think I did 5 different blank designs until we finally nailed it. Cause he's like, he wanted a BFS rod that you could actually tournament fish with. So in that you could muscle something out, big if it got on there. And so, yeah, what's so cool is people are just enjoying it. It handles the really, really small stuff like it should as a BFS rod, but you can also really muscle the big fish in. I keep trying to get somebody to take it offshore and just catch something big and see if we can break it. Because it's a really cool Blake.
Well, Derek, take yours out the striper fishing, because you striper fish a lot, don't you?
Oh man, if I had it yesterday, don't tell my boss I was sick. But we were out striper fishing yesterday, and we were fishing these big schools of pogies, or menhaden, bunker, whatever people call them. Yeah. And we had probably, I don't know, a couple hundred, maybe 300-pound tuna come slashing through the bait, and it bit my pogie that I had out there, and it was going to spool me. So I had to grab the spool and just break them off. I only had 50-pound test. I knew it wasn't going to land, and there was boats everywhere. But yeah, if that's the challenge, I would take that thing out there and break it. Don't worry about that.
I just want to see a big red or something on it, just how it would handle.
If it handles anything like the inshore bully does to those fish out there, that thing just puts a whooping on them. I put that test.
It's kind of a mini version of that, Derek, in the blank design, actually. Yeah, it's kind of modeled that off. Where it goes to backbone and stuff is very similar, just really amped down.
So so the BFS would be more of a medium action, a fast tip.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I'm just throwing my reels out there a little bit.
Well, for BFS, I mean, everything BFS is ultralight. So you're dealing with an ultralight blank. Everything's tiny and micro. Even your reel, if you're going to get into it, you got to get a special reel and all that. Yeah. So, yeah, but that blank can handle. If you get a 10-pounder on there, you don't have to worry.
Good. Hey, we're about halfway through the show, so what we're going to do, we're going to just take about a little commercial break here, and we'll be right back. Hey, and welcome back. We'll get our guest back on here, and we'll conclude to the second part of the show and see what everybody has to say. Hey, welcome back, Tandy and Derek.
Well, that commercial, you're fired up. I don't know.
Doesn't it make you want to fish those pads?
Oh,
it does.
Pads, and I'm unglued most of the time.
Do you play the piano?
Do I?
Well, who plays your piano?
Oh, this is just my I look rich background.
Yeah, that's his.
Shut up. I'm all wondering how you have time to play the piano.
You know what? I just dabble in it on
Jeez.
Yeah.
I gotta do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I'm a dork. Okay.
Yeah, that's just that's one of them fancy backdrops make you look rich and fancy and
absolutely.
Yeah, man, like you.
I was just like, dang, he can play the piano.
Not only that, that's like a fancy piano.
That is 0 parts of my talent.
So moving into the second part of the show, Tandy, kind of.
Sorry to blow your cover, Derek.
No,
nice. It's good. It's good.
Everybody that knows me knows this ain't my house.
Okay.
So, what do y'all have for plan for the rest of the year, Tandy, with YakRods?
What do you mean? Which part?
Just what y'all got coming up. Do y'all have any more shows y'all going to go to, or are y'all just working on the back half of what you covered at ICAST? And
yeah, we've never done dealers at all. It's all only been direct to consumer, and we haven't even really advertised that way. It's just been advocates. So we're starting to reach out into the dealer land, and that's from ICAST, and that's a bit overwhelming. There's a lot. So yeah, we're trying to hit all those guys that had interest and get them set up and get the ball rolling. It's exciting because when people come in to buy a kayak, it's a natural purchase to, buy the rod holder, buy the Yak Attack box or what have you. So it just makes sense to have YakRods in there as a kayak rod. So that's what we're hitting. So people can get their hands on it right away, not settle or just get a feel for the rods.
Yeah.
And,
Talking about kayak dealers and things like that. I have a couple around me here in Savannah, and really when you go into their shops, the only thing they sell are your kayak, all your accessories, NRS boots, vests, paddles, but you never see no fishing tackle or no fishing rods in it. And I think that's a good point that you're making, Tandy, is kind of reaching out to some shops and try to get.
It's an easy upsell for them.
Right.
So that's and it gets a good rod in beginners' hands. Like these new tethered rods, the all-purpose spinning and all-purpose casting are just. I mean, if you had those two rods on your kayak, you're set. And you have the tether system and the little rod holder, you're good to go for a long time.
Right. So Derek, what I want to kind of, and I've watched your YouTube channel for the last 2 or 3 years, man. So,
you're like fan struck right now.
Yeah.
And
I am every time I talk to him. It's like, oh, Derek's gonna be on.
Yeah. So, but I've watched some of his tournament stuff and on YouTube, and I don't see how you stand up all day in a kayak, dude. I don't. But kind of tell us about the Foundation series. You had a YouTube pushed out on the Foundation series, and I really think this is a good way to get kayak anglers into the YakRod series of rods is by the Foundation series. So kind of explain to us that type of rod series.
Yeah, so basically the whole concept behind the Foundation series is that you can get this group of rods without purchasing, without being Derek Brunley. You don't have to go with 14 rods on your kayak. You can go with these rods and get set up and pretty much cover every technique, every popular technique that catches fish in tournaments, not in tournaments, just fun fishing, whatever you want to do. But it's a great way to get incredibly good rods without having to buy a giant lineup. You can start with just 3 and cover your bases that way. And then, I guarantee once you put the Foundation rods in your hand, all of a sudden you're going to say, well, these rods are so good, I'm going to move on to the specialty series. I'm going to get an inshore bully for my redfish or my striped bass or, my saltwater stuff. And then I'm going to go get the X chatter rod. And because once you pick that thing up and you realize how nice it is to fish a bladed jig on an X chatter, everything comes from that Foundation series as far as the design aspects and thought out to kind of be multi-purpose. So you can get started with high-end rods without the high-end price tag of buying a complete fleet of them.
Right. Yeah. So there's 2 casting rods and a spinning rod in that series, correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So them rods will cover everything from throwing what's the biggest swim bait you can throw on one of them rods, Derek?
I wouldn't go too heavy on a swim bait. I'd keep it under like 2.5 ounces probably just to be safe. I mean, there comes a point where you do need a specific rod. Like I was saying, once you get that cover you for the bases there, then you move into the specialty series and move up to like the big Buffo and everything like that to get to the point where you can throw a depth 250 all day long. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those 3 rods really aren't meant for that exact type of technique. It's more to cover a variety of techniques without having to go to the extreme side, you know.
So maybe some underspins, some
Oh yeah, I mean
jerk baits, like
yeah,
Texas rig.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, those 3 rods. So you have a medium in the spinning rod. So all your finesse baits. We have people throwing drop shot on their Neds from 1/8 to, almost an ounce you can throw on that finesse rod. And then there's a medium heavy for all your moving baits. And then there's a heavy, and the heavy, like Derek said, you probably go up to 2. I would say that was perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. That foundation heavy series, if you tie like 50-pound braid on that thing and you put a hollow body frog on that thing, you can put in some heavy work with that thing. It's an awesome rod. Awesome frog rod.
Now you're talking my type of fishing. I like frog fishing, buzzbait fishing.
Sure.
What buzzbaits do you like?
I actually have a guy that builds them locally. So
neat.
I've been using his stuff for the last year and really like them. And you throw a lot of buzzbaits, Derek?
I do. Yeah.
Tandy, I know you're more of a finesse fisherwoman.
Yeah. I like plastics.
Yeah. So anything. I got one more thing to ask y'all, and both y'all can answer to this. Looking at your website, YakRods.com, y'all have an advocate program, and I kind of wanted to get that out to everybody listening here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iHeart, everywhere we broadcast through the Paddle and Fin Network, is kind of break down the tiers for us and kind of what you expect out of an ambassador versus a true pro staff or a pro.
Yeah. So over the years, it's been kind of organic. Derek was so gracious to take on a new company when we were first starting out, 3 years ago, like you said. He's like, yeah, I'll give him a shot. And he's stuck with us. And he's our only pro that we send rods to and try to replace the ones people steal from him. But yeah, we're the advocate program. We try to take about 25 to 50 applicants a year. We maxed out at 50 this last year. We took on 50, and that was kind of a lot. We want to keep it more intimate, try to, and not just throw it out there to everybody. So yeah, we care about what the advocates think, what they're saying, how they're conducting themselves. All that matters to us. So our advocate program this next year will probably take about, 30 new folks. And what happens is they get a discount on rods. And the more they put into it, the more we can give them. So, if they're on their channels or whatever they're doing, and we don't even care about social media stuff as much as that they're promoting the rods. So a lot of our guys have sold more just at the docks. Like Derek said, throwing a rod in somebody's hand and showing them that they are a little bit different. That's sold rods. And yeah, as we grow, we want to take care of our people. So as we've grown, we're trying to take care of Derek, better and more financially as we can, and not just add a bunch of pros that we're just doing little for.
Right.
So that's kind of the way we've run it. But
okay. So Derek, kind of piggybacking off what Tandy just said, kind of give an insight of working with a company, designing for a company, and just being kind of their spokesperson for the company. Kind of give an insight of what you can tell new anglers or anglers out there that are looking to go that route in the future. Kind of the work you've put in for yourself.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. When YakRods approached me, it was just kind of, I don't know, it just felt like the right move for both of us, really. talked to them. I said, hey, if we can get together, maybe send me a rod or two so we can figure it out. And I want to test them out. And we kind of went from there, and it was kind of quiet for a while. And I really put them through the tests because I'm a firm believer if I don't like way something is, or if I'm not 100% on board, I'm just not there, and I'll be honest, like, you can ask any of my buddies that know me very, very closely, and I had a couple of prototypes I was running around with. I was very, very secretive about them, and it just kind of fueled the more of the fire, I guess you would say. And I've worked with a few rod companies, a few high-end rod companies, on designing some rods, and I really got to learn a lot about rods. And back in the day, I used to build, being out here in Massachusetts, I used to build a lot of surf casting rods out here. For one local tackle shop, I built a ton of surf casting rods for them and for my own clients. But so I knew quite a bit about rod building and like what I like to see in rod building, components wise. And these guys just checked off all the boxes as I went through everything. And then we just like, the company and I clicked. It's hard to explain, but when you feel right and you feel at home with something, the products are good. The company is top notch when it comes to, customer service and their dedication to what I feel is my sport of kayak fishing. They're there 100%. They're backing kayak anglers. This advocacy program, the advocate program, it's kind of like, it's different than a lot of advocate programs that you find out there. We're a company that just kind of give you a discount and they just let you do nothing. These guys are seeking feedback. They're seeking, anglers that want to make a difference, and they're not just chasing people that have like a social, like, Tandy had mentioned, they don't really care about social media. They want organic people with, real thoughts and real, honest opinions to lead other anglers to the rods. And I think that's super important because it's really a twofold thing. Number one, it leads people to the rods the right way. And once they get to the rods, they're not going to put them down. They're going to just order more rods and go to the different series, and then they'll start picking those out because they're top of the line. And we put a lot of research into it. And I say we because I feel like I'm part of the company, and I've been here for a while.
Well, when you got a rod coming out with your name on it, I think you're part of the company.
Yeah, I mean, I feel super blessed to have gotten this opportunity from them.
It's the other way around, Daniel. What is Derek right now? He's third in AOI.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he should have a big rod company, and he chose to give YakRods a try. And we're throwing pennies at him. We're trying to keep up with what he's worth. So we feel fortunate to have Derek. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, it's being down at ICAST, and I tell you, because I've never been around the fish industry that large before, and just seeing people, like, I was in line to get lunch, and this guy right behind me struck up a conversation, and he's the CEO and co-founder of Omnia Fishing app, and he's like, here's my card. I'd like to talk to you and get on the podcast and things like that. You're like, holy crap, this guy is a CEO of a company.
Isn't that cool though?
Yeah.
I mean, all the people that you're hearing about or that have made big bucks, they're just people.
Yeah, they're just normal people, like, they have a different work than I do. They get to enjoy their work because they get to fish for a living. But yeah, it was an experience, but
and you got to hang out with James.
Yeah, James,
every day.
Chris, you got to hook up with the paddle and fin guys, Brian, Randy, all them guys that kind of got me into their network. And my wife was kind of overwhelmed as well. But she learned some things at the Lunch and Learn seminars. The first day we went. She brought back a bunch of information that she's trying to implement with my brand now and the stuff I do. And so we're working on it. We're working on it. So, but yeah, last but not least, I want to say thank you, Tandy, once again, you and YakRod's company for inviting me and Christina to ICAST. Special thanks to Derek for a last minute join tonight.
Yeah, we hope Chris gets better.
Yeah, we hope Chris feels better and gets better and things like that. But kind of shout out your socials there, Derek, where everybody can follow you, where they can find you. And
sure. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at FishFreakDJV. You can look me up on Facebook at either Derek Brundle or Derek Brundle Fishing. And my YouTube channel is Derek Brundle Fishing. Pretty simple, straightforward. You look for the guy with the biggest smile on the water. It's usually me.
And in that, you've got an unlimited new canoe, right? Green?
I've got I'm really kind of falling in love with the new U10.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had that down at the Susquehanna River at this Bassmasters event, and that thing is out of this world.
So you got what you got on the back, or you got a front?
So I got both.
You got both.
I use both in most tournaments. So it depends on the day how I'm feeling. I run an XI3 up front or a Newport 300 in the back. If you want to do 1,000 miles an hour, you run the Newport vessels on there. If you want the ultimate in control.
How fast does it go?
When we first got the testing done with the new ones down in Lake Murray, we had a house put together with a bunch of new canoe guys, and we had the first U10s out there, and we had it stripped down to just a battery, the steering control, and the NK300. I put that thing at 7.5 miles an hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it puts off about a 3-foot wake. So, no, it's super cool, man. I mean, you're not going to get that type of speed fully loaded down tournament rig with, rods on there and a bunch of other gear. But I was still getting 6 miles an hour. So, pretty impressive. But yeah, totally love the new canoe, both the Unlimited and the U10, the Flint. I mean, I've been with new canoe pretty much since 2018. So,
yeah, I run the F12. So
yeah, I've had 4 of those myself. Yeah, I had to. The wife asked me to start getting rid of some kayaks because the whole backyard started looking like a dealership.
That's why he had to use that backdrop, because his living room is just like stacked with kayaks, and fishing rods.
So, Tandy, tell everybody where they can find YakRods at. Socials.
YakRods.com. Go there. You can find the advocate program on there. You can, find everything you need. And then, hello at YakRods. If you want to contact us, you can contact me directly at tandy@yakrods.com. We're on Instagram, YakRods, Facebook, YakRods. But yeah, we're slowly growing the social stuff. That stuff is not fun. But you got to play the game.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole with y'all, but the social media world is taking everything by storm. So that's where I'll leave it at. But you have to push it there if you want people to see what you're doing and what kind of content you have. So
Yep.
But once again, I'd like to thank YakRods, Tandy, Chris, the whole company, for joining us again tonight. Derek, thank you for your time, sir.
No, I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yeah, I hope to see a BFS rod out offshore. Some video coming soon.
Hey, we got the false albacore just moving in out here, so I'm gonna take it out and chase some false albacore.
See what happens.
Hey,
thanks for having us, Daniel.
Yeah, you're welcome, Tandy. And hey, and another thing I want to kind of mention to our viewers and our listeners out there. You've got to tune in on August 22nd on the next live broadcast. YakRods will be giving a rod away on that broadcast. So everybody get your calendar marked. We'll do
maybe
the giveaway.
a BFS.
whatever rod you choose.
Okay.
Whatever rod you want to choose there, Tandy. And just want to get all the listeners out there available for that. And certainly, and thank y'all once again for joining the Main Contained Fishing on the Paddle and Fin Network as well. And everybody, remember to wear your PFD and fish on.